Our guest today is Rob Schroll from the Brattleboro Savings and Loan. Rob, the home mortgage interest rate situation here in Vermont has been at a remarkably fine level over the last 6 months or so. Interest rates are where right now?
Interest rates are on their way back up. They've been low for a period of time, but it seems now that they'll be increasing.
What kind of levels are we looking at right now?
Between 10 and 11% on a home mortgage.
Mm-hmm. And that seems low, but just a couple of months ago we were where?
Between 8.5 and 9. That doesn't seem to be the biggest issue in the industry at this time. The issue in the industry at this point is the soundness and safety of the customer's funds relative to FSLIC.
That perhaps may be your perception, but the reality is that consumers out there who've been flooding to your bank wanting to get their mortgages signed, sealed, and delivered are finding that the rates are going up, 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 up as they try and get in and lock in those lower interest rates. That, to me, strikes me as the issue that's of real concern right now. What are you doing to try to speed those loans along?
You may see that as the issue, but in fact what's happening now is we're having a silent run on our bank. And most of that is due to the publicity we're getting from the press relative to the FSLIC recapitalization. The most recent article, for example, in our local newspaper was very negative towards the FSLIC, and in fact came out and said that it was broke based on a GAO report.
But is your bank able to process these loans as fast as it wants to right now? Because mortgage loans is...
Yes, we're able to process loans at a very healthy pace.
Okay. Healthy enough to satisfy consumer demand?
I believe so.
All right. With interest rates continuing to rise, would it be safe to say that you have hundreds of loan applications still outstanding? People who've done everything they need to do?
No, I don't believe that there's that many that are outstanding at this time.
So you do not see an unsatisfied demand out there?
I don't see an unsatisfied demand. I don't see that as an industry problem. As I say, the problem that I see currently with the industry is relative to FSLIC.
The consumers who want to know...
The consumers are upset, are scared that their funds are not safe and sound. And if there's any problem in terms of lending, it's where are we going to get our funds from? I happen to have good access to a discount window now, but I would hate to have to use that more than I needed to because of the confidence of my consumers being broken through these reports coming out of Washington relative to FSLIC.
Recent surveys have shown, however, that what really interests people is not so much this FSLIC question, but what really interests them is how much am I going to pay for my mortgage? When can I get this low interest rate? Because I'm afraid inflation is going to have its toll in the coming year or two. Can I get my process for refinancing through the bank in a timely fashion?
I believe they can.
Stop just a second. Keep the tape rolling. You've not explained to Joe Sixpack what FSLIC is.
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking in banker...
It's a good thing I didn't say FSLIC, right?
Yes, FSLIC. You're speaking in banker terminology. Try to get back to it and begin to explain what it is and why it needs changing, whatever it is you want.
Well, see, the two subjects that we're talking about aren't really all that related, so it's awful hard to make...
The challenge for you is to get in there.
I'm trying to make tie-ins here that don't make any sense.
They may not have to make any sense.
Joe Sixpack may be dumb enough to believe it. I don't know.
I'm glad you asked me about my mother, and what I really want to talk to you about is the Democratic Party. Okay? Try that. Take it where you want to go. Take control.
Try.
But the consumer is asking the question, am I going to be paying $600 a month for my mortgage over the next 25 years, or am I going to be paying $700 a month because the bank isn't able to keep up with the demand from the number of people who want to refinance mortgages?
You know, I appreciate your question, but I don't feel that that's the issue here. I don't feel that's why we came here in the first place. I think that we ought to be talking about the major issues that affect our industry and whether or not there will be, in fact, thrifts in the area that can serve the home mortgage market.
Good. Keep going. Keep the floor. Don't let it take away.
If indeed you suggest that it's not an issue, that consumer mortgage loans aren't being, you suggest they are being processed in a timely fashion, you suggest it's not an issue.
I believe it's an issue. I'm not saying it's not an issue. But I don't believe it's a problem at this point. I don't believe there are more than enough funds available at a low rate for banks and savings and loans. There's not a problem in lending that money out, and I don't believe that that's a crisis situation at this point.
You want to talk about crisis.
If you want to talk about crisis, let's talk about the FSLIC and what's taking place right now in the Congress.
We're trying to talk about local issues, though. We're trying to find out why people who sign up for
that will affect it on a local level.
But
that will affect, for example, I can't get back to that. Are you aware of what FSLIC is?
I'm sure I do, but the question is, does the consumer really care? Okay, what they want to know
the
is...
the consumer does care. The Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation is the corporation which insures the deposits up to $100,000 of the consumers in my bank. And at this point, we have reports coming out of GAO that it is insolvent, which is clearly not true. We have a House bill.
Well, you've lost me, okay? GAO and FSLIC and all these sorts of
Government Accounting
things.
Office.
But the reality is that most of your customers are never going to reach $100,000 or
But that's
more
not what
in
they're
savings.
hearing. That's not what they're hearing.
And
They're hearing that their funds are not safe and that, in fact, there is a fund that cannot insure their deposits.
I can't believe that there's a great deal of customers out there who are worried that their $9,000 savings account is going to disappear overnight.
Oh,
but
you'd
what
be
they are
surprised.
worried about is that your bank isn't processing mortgage loans fast enough to be able to get them in there and...
He sure is.
This is hard to do. This is hard to do when you've got a persistent reporter. Most of them are not be as persistent. Your reporters will be this persistent. But it illustrates how hard it is